They said love songs were forever, but forever, as Nicole Kidman learned, is often shorter than the echo that follows it. The world saw perfection, a woman of grace and fire, hand in hand with a country star whose voice seemed made of devotion itself. Nashville loved them, Hollywood adored them. Together they looked like a hymn the world could believe in. But time has a way of peeling back the gold from every fairy tale. Beneath the photographs and the smiles were nights that didn't sing, silences that roared louder than applause. Nicole, the queen of composure, learned to smile even as her reflection began to fade behind him. And after 19 years of marriage, the silence finally broke. The divorce filing wasn't a scandal, it was a declaration of truth. When reporters asked what went wrong, Nicole simply said, "I finally remembered who I was before the songs." Her voice didn't shake, but it carried the calm that comes after fire, the kind of freedom no diamond could ever buy. The headlines screamed betrayal and heartbreak, but the truth wasn't tabloid ink, it was blood and memory. The story of how a woman built from light can still be shadowed by love. Long before the fame and the red carpets, there was a girl running barefoot through the suburbs of Sydney, with flame-colored hair and pale skin that caught the sun. Nicole Mary Kidman was her name, and she grew up under the watch of two wise parents, her father a psychologist, her mother a nurse and activist. From them, Nicole learned two lessons that would shape her life. Empathy can heal, but silence can kill. She was shy, awkward, taller than her peers, teased for her accent. Yet there was something unbreakable in her eyes, a quiet electricity. Acting became her escape. The stage became her sanctuary, and for the first time she could breathe. Her father once told her that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about learning to rebuild, and she carried that lesson through every heartbreak and every triumph. At 17, she starred in her first film, Bush Christmas, and suddenly the girl from Sydney began to echo across oceans. But fame didn't tempt her. It was escape she sought, escape from self-doubt and loneliness. Hollywood called when she was barely 21, and with a suitcase full of hope, she left behind her childhood and her innocence. In Los Angeles, beauty was currency, and confidence was oxygen, and Nicole had to earn both. Her rise came quietly, through precision and patience. Her stillness on screen drew the world in, as if she spoke in whispers only the soul could hear. Dead calm made her unforgettable. To Die For proved her fearless, and Moulin Rouge turned her into a legend. Yet, with each success came a quiet price. The more she transformed into others, the harder it became to find herself. Meeting Tom Cruise was like stepping into a hurricane of attention. Together they were the perfect illusion, fierce, glamorous, and destined for dissection. When that ended, she rebuilt again, sharper and stronger, turning heartbreak into art. The hours gave her the respect she had earned, but behind the awards was a woman who had learned to hold grace like a shield. When Keith Urban entered her life, it felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. After years of silence, she believed again. Believed that love could heal, that music could mend. They married in Sydney, hand in hand, and for a while the fairy tale seemed real. But fame never sleeps. He toured the world while she built her own universes through film. Distance became the quiet enemy, and forgiveness became her art form. She forgave the absences, the missed calls, the exhaustion, and the rumors, until one day forgiveness turned into fatigue. During the pandemic, when the world stood still, so did they, and what had once been softened by distance now cracked under stillness. By 2025, when the divorce papers arrived, Nicole didn't break, she exhaled. She had mourned it privately long before the world knew. Her statement was simple. There are no villains here, only two people who tried very hard. It wasn't a confession of defeat. It was a reclaiming of peace. For the first time, she wasn't performing happiness, she was living truth. In interviews, she spoke not of blame, but of awakening, saying, "Love isn't meant to save you, it's meant to teach you." She began journaling, walking barefoot through her garden, whispering to the morning air, "I'm still here." She rediscovered the girl who once feared invisibility, and this time she found beauty in it. Her story became a quiet anthem of survival, not the kind that ends with revenge, but with rebirth. She started producing films that gave women their voices back, mentoring young actresses with the words, "You don't have to suffer to be great. You just have to be honest." When people called her fearless, she said softly, "I'm terrified, but I walk anyway." She no longer needed to prove her worth. She had already found it. Today, Nicole Kidman doesn't chase perfection or redemption. She simply lives, unbothered by judgment, unblinded by fame. Her mornings in Nashville are calm, her daughters are growing, her heart is whole. The silence that once haunted her now feels like home, and when she looks in the mirror, she finally sees herself. Her story isn't tragedy. It's transformation. A reminder that the end of love isn't the end of life. It's the beginning of truth. As she said once, with that familiar calm, "Some stories end in heartbreak. Mine began again with honesty." And with that, Nicole Kidman turned her pain into power and her silence into art. Thank you for watching. And if you found Nicole's story as powerful as we did, make sure to subscribe to Hollywood Bulletin and press the bell icon so you never miss more stories like this.